Thank you so much for being with us, Senator. Do we know who's briefing you tomorrow?
A number of Pentagon officials and also intelligence officials. I'm not allowed to tell you exactly who because it is a classified briefing. Let me just say it should not be behind closed doors. This administration owes answers to the American people. And I will tell you from my experience, including the first briefing we had on this war, there is nothing, and I say nothing, that the American people shouldn't hear and couldn't hear consistent with our national security in that briefing.
Well, I got a couple questions. But I guess, and we were talking about this before you came on, the press conference, another press conference that the president had. Did you hear anything in that press conference that you now want to further inquire about in this briefing tomorrow? And I say that because there were a number of just striking statements that the president made, chief among them, his claims about Iran having a Tomahawk missile, and that Iran was the one with the Tomahawk missile that hit the school. I just want to play this exchange for you from a reporter.
You just suggested that Iran somehow got its hands on a Tomahawk and bombed its own elementary school on the first day of the war. But you're the only person in your government saying this. Even your defense secretary wouldn't say that when he was asked, standing over your shoulder on your plane on Saturday. Why are you the only person saying this?
Because I just don't know enough about it. I think it's something that I was told is under investigation.
The president of the United States doesn't know enough about it? What is the intelligence saying? Are these questions that you have?
Well, let me just say, Simone, for Iran to have a Tomahawk missile, which is our state-of-the-art, our most advanced, precise weapon, to do the kind of damage that it is doing right now, tragically, and hopefully effectively to protect our men and women in uniform, that kind of leak of a weapon would be a absolutely inconceivable and unconscionable breach of security.
I just want to interrupt you, Senator, because the president made it seem like lots of countries can buy Tomahawk missiles. He literally said lots of countries have them. He said this in the press conference. So is the president incorrect?
The president either doesn't understand or he's deliberately deceiving the American people about what the process is for our allowing Tomahawks to be sold. There is a very elaborate process. It requires approval by our intelligence officials and by the Congress. Tomahawk missiles are not just sold like candy. They are screened for who is going to buy them. And the last country on the list of potential purchasers should be Iran. They are a sworn enemy. To pledge that they are going to kill Americans, kill Jews, kill Israelis, to allow Tomahawks to be sold them would be the most atrocious breach of security. The president should know better.
Okay, so I'm not going to play the reindeer game tonight because the president of the United States on Saturday, if he didn't know, by Monday at Doral, he should have, because he is the president of the United States who's prosecuting a war of his own choosing and making. So the fact, Mr. President, you don't know if one of our Tomahawk missiles, since we're the only ones who are firing them into Iran right now, hit a school and killed or harmed children, that says a lot about your leadership of this war. So maybe you should sit down and take a corner on the war. So that begs for me the question, I know you can't get into specifics, but how much will you and your colleagues be able to press this administration to stop pussyfooting around, stop jerking the American people around, stop pretending that they don't know what the hell they're doing, because they don't, and get on the stick and get this thing in front of us so that we know we have another serviceman killed, as reporting this evening, right? How much more death has to occur before Donald Trump realizes, oh, yeah, this is serious?
Well, what we should be doing, Michael, first of all, is demanding that the president or the Secretary of Defense tell us whether the United States was responsible for the Tomahawk missile, and it appears that, unfortunately, we were, that killed those 175 children, because it was a Tomahawk missile. And at about almost exactly the same time, a Tomahawk missile hit a base in the same neighborhood.
Can I just, to that point, Senator, the New York Times reported the video uploaded on Sunday by Iran's semi-official Mehr news agency and verified by the New York Times shows a Tomahawk cruise missile striking a naval base beside the school in the town of Menab on February 28th. The U.S. military is the only force involved in the conflict that uses Tomahawk missiles. A body of evidence assembled by the Times, including satellite imagery, social media posts, and other verified videos, indicates that the elementary school building was severely damaged by a precision strike that occurred at the same time as attacks on the naval base, exactly to your point.
Exactly. And not only is there that evidence, but there's also satellite imagery. And I say this with no great pride or satisfaction. I think it is totally unconscionable for the greatest nation in the world to be killing school children. But here's the bigger point, Michael. Who is deciding on the targets? Who is compiling that list of thousands of Tomahawk missiles and drones and other bombs hitting potentially civilian targets in Iran? You know, we're talking a lot about the economic consequences. Price of gas rising, very unfortunate, costs of a lot of other goods. But there is a human cost here to this war of choice. And sad to say, Hegseth saying that there are these silly rules of engagement. These are laws of international decency and humanity, and they just have utter contempt for them. That's the tone and the culture he is setting personally, and it goes down the line as a message to the commanders in the field and to the people who are picking those targets.
Who's going to account for the loss of those lives? That's the thing.
The human threat has been laid bare in Iran and in the region. It's also, I'm thinking of the reporting that Simone shared from the Daily Mail and others about the possibility of there being a bulletin talking to the potential threat here at home. Have you seen or read anything similar?
I will tell you, based on what I've heard, that there certainly is a reason for Americans to be very, very vigilant. Not fearful, panicking, but certainly vigilant, and blocking the threat information from going out to local and state police or other law enforcement is just the height of irresponsibility. That's what they're doing in politicizing our Homeland Security operation, top to bottom, whether it's immigration or a threat assessment. The seriousness of their malpractice here cannot be exaggerated.